Does anyone on the panel believe that it is hypocritical that there's all this concern over the CCP accessing our data on TikTok, even though it's been proven that Western governments do similar things through apps like Facebook, Instagram, Meta, that kind of thing?
Richard.
I think TikTok's a totally different machine. The biometrics that they're capturing is completely different than what Facebook's doing and Meta's doing. And it really does have an impact for national security. It's going to be a very interesting argument in the United States. As you know, the CEO testified in front of Congress. We firmly stand behind the freedom of speech, but when it starts infringing on national security, it's going to be a very interesting discussion.
Richard, I don't think what Richard has said is fair or accurate. I think we really need to be clear about this. Like, I use TikTok. I find it a fantastic way to engage with the Australian community, to let people know what is actually going on in their parliament.
Are you concerned about your data and where that ends up?
Yeah, so let's address this, right? It is a space where people connect, they learn, they laugh, they engage and express each other. Now, as to whether there should be a review around, its use on parliamentary devices...
Well, there is a review underway.
We'd support that review. We would support that review. But I think we need to actually look critically at why it is that this conversation is focused solely, and so much so, on TikTok, when other big social media corporations gather the same amount of data or more data than TikTok
well, Richard,
does.
we have had Facebook...
No, ask the question. We've really got to ask the question, what role is race playing in this debate? Because we do not see other social media companies...
The Chinese government has access to your data.
No, Jacinta, look. Jacinta...
Do you know what's going on right now, the geopolitical circumstances we're currently confronted with? We are parliamentarians.
Jacinta, there is a need to protect the data and privacy of all Australians. And what I would like to see, rather than this government focus on a handful of just politicians, right, actually follow jurisdictions like the European Union and enshrine in law every individual's right to control their data, to know what it's used for and when, in the law.
I just want to go back to...
That's what we need to do for everyone.
I want to go back to Jared's question and bring that back to Richard, because we also saw Facebook having to give testimony before Congress and questions about what happens with their data. We also know that foreign governments share data with the United States, and often the citizens of foreign governments don't know that. But to go to Jared's question, is it unfair to point the finger at TikTok or China when American companies or America itself is also using the data of individuals?
I totally agree with my esteemed colleague to my right in that it's not just TikTok, and we have had the Metas and everything up on the Hill. The Europeans might have it right in this case.
They do.
They're right, and because the main thing is personal privacy, I link it to also national security, because that is the basic fiber that you're protecting.
Peter, you're on TikTok, is that right?
I have a TikTok account, but I don't have TikTok on my...
So, but how do you feel about... I know. How do you feel about a ban?
I do both.
This is like... Is this a TikTok equivalent of, I smoked but didn't inhale?
Yeah. Very much so. Yes.
But what do you think about a ban on government use, public service use of TikTok? Would you be prepared to give up the thing that you don't inhale?
Yes.
For a ban?
Because people in positions of responsibility in the government, whether it be at a senior bureaucratic level or an elected official level, we've got a responsibility to protect national security interests. We've got a responsibility to protect the interests of the community writ large about decisions that necessarily are made in the confines of confidence. And they aren't decisions, or they aren't pieces of information that we want broadcast to people who aren't necessarily wanting to use that information for appropriate purposes. So, yes, is the short answer.
Jordan, I want to just go to Mullenderi.
There is a difference between our parliamentary devices and that is a different kettle of fish, what is appropriate for a parliamentary device, and that's why we're supportive of the review. But I think we need to be really careful when that review's context are handed down, that we make the clear distinction about why it is inappropriate for a parliamentary device, if that is the conclusion, versus the broad community use of the...
Where's the government on this right now? Because there is a review, but there's been some criticism, Malandiri, that the government, in fact, has not moved quickly enough.
Let me declare, I don't use TikTok. I'm not on it that I know of. So I don't know what category you put me in there, Stan, but anyway. And please don't anyone go put me on now. Look, where we are, obviously, is with the review, and certainly, the Greens have every opportunity to contribute to that, as does the coalition. This is about looking at...
But a ban is likely, would you say?
Well, certainly we are looking very closely at that. I mean, Claire O'Neill, our Home Affairs Minister, got onto this straight away at the end of last year, and I know that review is still underway at the moment, and she is very committed to making sure that the national security is the #1 priority here, and that may well be the case, Stan.